So the pituitary gland actually does two things. Now, it either tells the body what to do, which I've written over here, or it tells other glands to release their hormones. So if we take, for example, the thyroid, which is over here. Now, the thyroid releases a hormone, see if you can remember, it's called thyroxine. Now, thyroxine is really important in regulating your metabolism because it controls the rate of reactions that happen in your cells. Now, if these levels of thyroxine are really low, what happens is the pituitary gland releases something called TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, and that travels through your blood and it goes to the thyroid and it tells the thyroid that it needs to increase its levels because it's too low. So you can see there, that's an example of the pituitary gland telling the other glands to release their hormones. Now, if this doesn't happen, the pituitary gland can also just release hormones to cause other organs to be stimulated. So negative feedback is an example of controlling what happens in your body. So let's say the level of thyroxine, so thyroxine I'm going to write here, goes very low, then the pituitary gland releases another hormone called thyroid stimulating hormone, which causes the thyroxine levels to increase. Now, this is an example of negative feedback so that the levels of the hormones are always maintained. So this takes us to the adrenal glands. Now, the adrenal glands are these little green hats you can see. Now, they're not actually green in colour, but I've made them green here. And I'm going to label that for you so you can just clearly see that's the adrenal glands. Now, the hormone that is involved in the adrenal glands is, you probably guessed it, adrenaline. Adrenaline, if you haven't come across it before, it's that feeling when you go and play your first football match or your first dance show or you're doing a 100-meter race and you're really nervous. That nerves actually is because adrenaline has been released, and what it does is it causes the heart rate to increase. Now this heart rate to increase. So this is an example of fight or flight where we may react to predators in danger and run away, and that's the adrenaline that keeps us going and our heart rate beating really fast. So like I mentioned before, the pancreas is really special because not only is it a gland, it's also an organ. So I'm going to label this, it's the one that's in blue over here. And the hormone that's secreted, remember secreted means to release, the hormone that's secreted from the pancreas is insulin. And you would have heard this before because insulin relates to diabetes. So the function of insulin is that it regulates glucose in your blood. Now, if this is not regulated properly, this could cause problems like diabetes. And finally, we'll look at the testes and the ovaries. Now, in males, they have the testes, so it could be IS for singular or ES for plural, and in the female they have ovaries. The hormone produced from the testes for men is testosterone, and the hormone produced for women from the ovaries, which is the gland, the hormone is estrogen. Now, these have a real role to play in sexual characteristics. So things like hair growth, female hips getting wider, female breasts getting bigger, male voice getting deeper. They're all a result of these two hormones. A really common GCSE question that I've seen is a comparison between the endocrine system and the nervous system. So this question, I'm going to break it down so it's really easy for you to get full marks. So the difference is the endocrine system uses hormones, whereas the nervous system uses electrical impulses. The endocrine system is transported in the blood, whereas the nervous system is transported via nerve cells using electrical impulses. Now, the difference between the endocrine system is that it spreads really slowly, but it lasts much longer. Whereas the nervous system happens really fast because electrical impulses zap through the body, but the effects actually don't last as long. And finally, the endocrine system can act on many different types of cells, so they're more general in terms of what they act on, whereas the nervous system is really specific. If it wants to target the muscle in the leg, maybe the calf muscle to contract for the leg to move, that's a really specific muscle that it's targeting. And those are the differences between both systems of communication. So here's a challenge summary for you. I want you to pause this video, get a piece of paper and write the word hormones in a little bubble in the middle, and I want you to just write down all the different things that you've learnt in this lesson. And if you watch the revision video on the Study Hive of how to revise effectively, this is a form of active learning. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned to define what a hormone is. It's secreted from a gland, travels in the blood and goes to your target organ, and essentially they're just chemicals. We looked at why we need them. We need them to communicate. We then looked into more detail on all the glands in your body and their specific functions of the hormones that they secrete. And finally, we compared the endocrine system with the nervous system. And that gives you a really good understanding of hormones and the endocrine system. So this brings us to the end of the video. How do you feel? Get it? Feel? Hormone? No? Anyway, so that brings us to the end of our lesson. Now, if you do like what we're teaching, please feel free to share it with your friends, watch our other videos on the Study Hive, or come and check us out on Instagram at the Study Hive. This really helps us make more videos and give them to you absolutely free. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in our next lesson. Bye bye.